Culture is all around us. It's in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the clothes we wear. It's in our language, our traditions, and our beliefs. But what exactly is culture? Where did this concept come from? These are questions that have intrigued humans for centuries. The idea of culture has been with us for a long time, but it wasn't always clearly defined. Early thinkers saw culture as something that separated humans from animals. They thought it was what made us civilized. This view, however, was limited. It didn't capture the full essence of what culture truly is. As human societies grew more complex, so did our understanding of culture. We began to see it as more than just civilization. We started to recognize the diversity of human practices and beliefs. We realized that every society, no matter how primitive or advanced, had its own unique culture. Today, we see culture as a complex web of ideas, behaviors, and symbols. It's what gives meaning to our lives. It's what connects us to our past and guides us towards our future. Culture is not static. It evolves and changes over time. Yet, it remains a fundamental part of who we are as humans. In the world of cultural studies, one name stands out: Edward B. Tylor. Tylor was a British anthropologist who lived in the 19th century. He is often called the father of cultural anthropology. His work laid the foundation for how we understand culture today. Tylor's most famous work is a book called Primitive Culture. It was published in 1871. In this book, Tylor presented the first clear definition of culture. He described it as a complex whole. This whole included knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities acquired by man as a member of society. This definition was groundbreaking. It moved away from the idea that culture was just about being civilized. Instead, it recognized that all societies have culture. Tylor's work showed that even primitive societies had complex systems of beliefs and practices. This was a revolutionary idea at the time. Tylor's work didn't just define culture, it also established cultural anthropology as a field of study. He showed that culture could be studied scientifically. This opened up new ways of understanding human societies. It paved the way for future generations of anthropologists and social scientists. So, what is culture? It's a simple question with a complex answer. At its core, culture is the way of life of a group of people. It's the sum total of their learned behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, and material things. Culture is what makes us who we are as a society. Culture includes everything from language to religion, from food to fashion, from art to technology. It's the stories we tell, the music we make, and the traditions we follow. Culture is both visible and invisible. We can see it in the clothes people wear and the buildings they construct, but we can also feel it in the values people hold and the way they interact with each other. One important thing to understand about culture is that it's learned, not inherited. We aren't born with culture. We acquire it as we grow up in a society. This is why children raised in different cultures can have such different ways of thinking and behaving. They've learned different cultural norms and values. Culture is also shared. It's not something that belongs to one person. It's a collective phenomenon. It's what binds a group of people together. It gives them a sense of identity and belonging. At the same time, culture is dynamic. It's constantly changing and evolving. New ideas and practices are added, while old ones may be modified or discarded. Section 4. The role of culture in society. Culture plays a crucial role in society. It's the glue that holds a society together. It provides the framework within which a society functions. Culture gives people a sense of identity and belonging. It helps them understand their place in the world and how to interact with others. One of the key functions of culture is to provide guidelines for behavior. Every culture has its own set of norms and values. These are like unwritten rules that tell people how to act in different situations. For example, In some cultures, it's polite to take off your shoes before entering someone's home. In others, it's not necessary. These cultural norms shape our daily interactions and help maintain social order. Culture also helps us make sense of the world around us. It provides us with a lens through which we interpret our experiences. Our cultural background influences how we perceive things, how we think, and how we feel. It shapes our worldview and our understanding of what is right and wrong, good and bad. Moreover, culture is a source of innovation and creativity. It's through culture that societies express themselves and find solutions to problems. Cultural practices often evolve in response to environmental, social, or economic challenges. For instance, the development of unique architectural styles in different parts of the world is often a response to local climate conditions. Section 5. Material versus non-material culture. Two sides of the same coin. When we talk about culture, we often think about tangible things like food, clothing, or art. These are examples of material culture. Material culture refers to the physical objects, resources, and spaces that people use to define their culture. It includes everything from buildings and books to tools and technology. Material culture is important because it reflects a society's values and beliefs. For example, the design of a church or a mosque tells us something about the religious beliefs of the people who built it. The clothes people wear can reflect their social status, their profession, or their cultural identity. Material culture is often the most visible aspect of a culture, especially to outsiders. But culture is more than just physical objects. There's also non-material culture. This refers to the intangible aspects of a culture. It includes things like ideas, attitudes, beliefs, values, and norms. Language, for instance, is a key part of non-material culture. So are religious beliefs, social norms, and cultural traditions. Non-material culture is less visible than material culture, but it's just as important. In fact, non-material culture often shapes material culture. For example, a society's religious beliefs, which are part of non-material culture, might influence the design of its places of worship, which is material culture. Similarly, a society's values about modesty might influence its fashion trends. Section 6. How culture shapes our world. Influence on behavior and interactions. Culture has a profound influence on human behavior and social interactions. It shapes how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Our cultural background provides us with a set of guidelines for how to behave in different situations. These guidelines are often so deeply ingrained that we follow them without even thinking about it. For example, culture influences how we communicate. Different cultures have different norms about things like personal space, eye contact, and physical touch. In some cultures, it's normal to stand close to someone while talking. In others, people prefer more distance. These cultural differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings in cross-cultural interactions. Culture also affects our values and beliefs. It influences what we consider right or wrong, important or unimportant. For instance, some cultures place a high value on individual achievement. Others prioritize group harmony. These cultural values can shape everything from our career choices to our relationships. Moreover, culture influences how we perceive and interpret the world around us. It provides us with a framework for understanding our experiences. This is why people from different cultures can have such different reactions to the same event. Our cultural lens colors our perception of reality. Understanding this can help us become more empathetic and open-minded towards people from different cultural backgrounds.